Okay. Let me go through that one more time. Sorry. So what we're going to be listening to is President Roosevelt received word that Great Britain and France declared war in Germany. And so he got a speech together, and he is talking to the American people and how he would do this from reassurances through his fireside chats. And so we're going to pretend that we are heard around the radio back in 1939, and we're going to listen to the president reassure the United States that even though Great Britain and France are at war, we're going to stay right where we are, very neutral.
I had hoped against hope that some miracle would prevent a devastating war in Europe and bring to an end the invasion of Poland by Germany. For 4 long years, a succession of actual wars and constant crises have shaken the entire world and have threatened in each case to bring on the gigantic conflict which is today, unhappily, a fact. It is right that I should recall to your minds the consistent and at times successful efforts of your government in these crises to throw the full weight of the United States into the cause of peace. In spite of spreading wars, I think that we have every right and every reason to maintain as a national policy the fundamental moralities, the teachings of religion, the continuation of efforts to restore peace. Because someday, though the time may be distant, we can be of even greater help to a crippled humanity. It is right, too, to point out that the unfortunate events of these recent years have, without question, been based on the use of force or the threat of force. And it seems to me clear, even at the outbreak of this great war, that the influence of America should be consistent in seeking for humanity a final peace which will eliminate, as far as it is possible to do so, the continued use of force between nations. It is, of course, impossible to predict the future. I have my constant stream of information from American representatives and other sources throughout the world. You, the people of this country, are receiving news through your radios and your newspapers at every hour of the day. You are, I believe, the most enlightened and the best informed people in all the world at this moment. You are subjected to no censorship of news, and I want to add that your government has no information which it withholds or which it has any thought of withholding from you. At the same time, as I told my press conference on Friday, it is of the highest importance that the press and the radio use the utmost caution to discriminate between actual, verified fact on the one hand and mere rumor on the other. I can add to that by saying that I hope the people of this country will also discriminate most carefully between news and rumor. Do not believe of necessity everything you hear or read. Check up on it first. You must master at the outset a simple but unalterable fact in modern relations between nations. When peace has been broken anywhere, the peace of all countries everywhere is in danger. It is easy for you and for me to shrug our shoulders and say that conflicts taking place thousands of miles from the continental United States, and indeed thousands of miles from the whole American hemisphere, do do not seriously affect the Americas, and that all the United States has to do is to ignore them and go about its own business. Passionately though we may desire detachment, we are forced to realize that every word that comes through the air, every ship that sails the sea, every battle that is fought, does affect the American future. Let no man or woman, thoughtlessly or falsely, talk of America sending its armies to European fields. At this moment, there is being prepared a proclamation of American neutrality. This would have been done even if there had been no neutrality statute on the books, for this proclamation is in accordance with international law and in accordance with American policy. This will be followed by a proclamation required by the existing Neutrality Act. And I trust that in the days to come, our neutrality can be made a true neutrality. It is of the utmost importance that the people of this country, with the best information in the world, think things through. The most dangerous enemies of American peace are those who, without well-rounded information on the whole broad subject of the past, the present, and the future, undertake to speak with assumed authority, to talk in terms of glittering generalities, to give to the nation assurances or prophecies which are of little present or future value. I myself cannot and do not prophesy the course of events abroad. And the reason is that because I have of necessity such a complete picture of what is going on in every part of the world that I do not dare to do so. And the other reason is that I think it is honest for me to be honest with the people of the United States. I cannot prophesy the immediate economic effect of this new war on our nation. But I do say that no American has the moral right to profiteer at the expense either of his fellow citizens or of the men, the women, and the children who are living and dying in the midst of war in Europe. Some things we do know. Most of us in the United States believe in spiritual values.
Okay, and that's where the one that I wanted to play, the file was corrupt for some reason, so we chose this one. But that gives you a good idea about where he was standing.
How we can flip the paradigm of where disease comes from, start to look at holistic methods of dealing with that.
And but as yesterday when I was talking about having you guys do the editorial, he in his speech also talked about them being neutral, staying neutral, and adhering to Congress's rules about remaining neutral. And he was trying to reassure the American people that just because there's war going on, we are going to remain still that neutral, and he was assuring them of that. So after he had his speech, he would get letters. 8,000 to 10,000 letters would come to the White House, and they published some of them. This is one in particular I wanted you to look at, and how she appreciated. And I want you to read I'm going to go ahead and read it out loud, I think, and listen to how it's structured, the emotions of the woman, what her beliefs are, and her relationship that she believes that she has with the President of the United States. She starts off, Dear President Roosevelt, ever since I heard you speak over the radio a couple of Sundays ago, I have been wanting to write you a few lines of appreciation for the very friendly and very sincere speech. It made me wish that I might pick up my telephone and talk to you. You do seem like a friend to each of us, and oh, I do hope that you will keep us out of the war. I will be 35 years old next month, and I have a fine son who is 15 years of age, and I'd die if he had to go to war. I also have 3 other sons and a daughter. My hubby was in the last war, which would be World War I. He is only 41 now, and I wrote you once before telling you that I'd rather shoot him myself than let him go to war, and I mean it. I brought my sons up to hate war, and all it does, and they do not want to fight and kill other mothers' sons. My hubby won't allow the boys to play with guns, etc., like some of the other boys around here. We believe that if all parents would teach their children the horrors of war, instead of making them believe it is wonderful and heroic, that there wouldn't be so many youths raring to go to war. My boys aren't sissies either, but my hubby and I believe that the United States of America should not fight unless the enemy comes over here and attacks us. And their belief would be that would never happen. I hope that you will see this letter, and thanks again for the grand talk of 2 Sundays ago. I hope you are 100% in this family. We are all for you 100% in this family. In fact, all of our friends are for you. So this kind of letter, the writing to the president, is not uncommon. The purpose of the fireside chats is to develop for the American people a friendship. So this is when she's writing to him, she is actually referring to him, thinking that he's my friend. I would love to have my friend come over. We could have dinner. We could sit down. We could chat. We could talk. And she's expressing her concern, not wanting us and believing that the president is absolutely right to remain neutral and not go into war. And she is not the only. There's thousands of people who believe the same way. I'm going to give you a copy of the president's speech. This will just be part of your notes. You don't have to do anything with them. But it'll give you a better idea. And the speech is the front and the back of the paper. But you want to keep those for your notes. Let me see, we have 15. What we're going to do is, these are more letters that the president, it has to do more with his first 2 fireside chats. You're going to partner. Sorry. Now, before we start, what I need to have you do is, with your partner, just pick out 2 or 3. There's 10 letters here, so you don't have to go through all 10. But go through them briefly. Pick out 2 or 3 letters, and you're going to answer the question that is on every single one of them. That is, lists 1 to 2 portions of the letter that shows the power that FDR had through the use of the radio. And he did very powerful use of the radio. Then the next thing you want to do is list one example of an issue or topic that the letter writer is highlighting in this letter. So in this particular letter, what her topic or what she's talking about, she does not want her sons going to war. She's doing everything within her power to make them dislike war, hate war, want nothing to do with war, and to stay away from war. And she is believing that the president shares that same sentiment. And so that would be the basic topic of what she's trying to relate to the president, that she's got good boys, they're strong boys, they're not sissies, but they're trying to teach them that war is not a good thing, and we don't need it here in the country. We don't need to send our young people over there. So you can just stay in the spots that you're in, or if you want to move and partner with somebody, that's fine.
Well, let's get it done.
My name's Q.
You just want to sit right there?
Sure. So we do need to have a partner as well.
Number 3 and 6. Do you have to share the number? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Now, these are notes that you want to keep because we're going to eventually create a raft. We're not going to do that today. We're going to work on that for tomorrow. I mean, Monday. Excuse me. Monday. Yes, we're all going to come in on Friday. This will continue into Monday. We'll finish up. So if you guys want to work on it over the weekend or create a raft, that's perfectly fine. Let me get my instructions on here.
Anonymous is a lie.
Your raft is going to be based on how powerful FDR's chats. And you're going to be a citizen writing a letter to the president. And you're going to take a position where you feel the same as everybody else does. You know, the president's right on, that, you know, you're 100% backing him, you're for him. Or you can also take the opposite position where you think, you know, I think, you know, we maybe should step it up and maybe see about declaring war, backing Britain, backing France, and getting into the war. You can also talk about maybe a citizen doesn't quite believe what the president is saying, that maybe he's trying to sugarcoat things, or maybe he's trying to hide things. You have a little bit of a suspicious nature about yourself, and so you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. You know, I'm thinking other things are going on. So whatever stance, whatever you think, by choosing, reading through the letters and doing a research of the character that you're going to play. So it depends on what position that you're going to take and what stance that you're going to take in writing your letter. Then you're going to have to research, because yesterday when we talked about the editorials, you cannot make statements without backing them up with facts. And so if you're telling the president, even though in her letter, obviously she didn't do that, but in our drafts, the position that you take, the topic that you're going to choose to write on, you are going to have to support your position in while you're writing it. So once we're done with this project, then you can feel free to get iPads out, the computers, your phone, whatever you want to do, and you can start make like a rough draft on your raft and coming up with some ideas, so that way you sort of maybe have an idea of what you want to do.
Wait, so do we have to do that before we start on this?
No. We'll get this done first, and we'll talk about this, and we'll get people's opinions on why they chose the letters they chose, and what their opinions are, and then I want to give you guys some time to gather information before we put the raft together. So the raft won't be due until Monday. But today I just want us to focus on the letter writing. We need to look at the way people people structured their letters, the emotions behind the letters, their thoughts, what were they thinking? Because this is a really important time in America's history, and these people are extremely concerned over what the United States is going to be doing at this point. And also, too, if your editorials are done from yesterday, please do hand them in, because I want to be able to check and see if they are done. Are there any questions? Everything?
Anyone else want to talk?
If you partnered with somebody, make sure their name is on that paper, but if you did it yourself, then you don't have to. Is it just 2 or 3 letters? Because there's 10 of them there, but I sort of wanted you to go through and see, what the people had written and try to get a sense of their concerns, the voice of their concerns during this time, what they're writing, how they're responding to the president, and they feel they feel a very closeness to the president. They look at him as a friend.
So can we just fill one of these out? I mean, do we both have to check?
No, for each letter that you're going to read, you need to fill that out because each one has a different topic.
You said we could put both our names on the
editorial from yesterday when you worked in partners. This one I would prefer single, but you guys can talk back and forth and just bounce ideas off of each other. You understand? Because that one was a little bit more difficult than what this would be.
Messed up, Dave.
If you decide that you're going to pick 3 letters out of all this, then you can answer these 3 times. After each letter, then you go to, but you don't have to do all 10. Okay. It's just the 10 was just to give you, some ideas of what the letter writings that were presented to the president.
I have done so many
To me, this when I read this, it was more of a admiration to the president. So, in other words, what he was basically was praising him and letting him know that, not only himself, but the people feel that he was this wonderful. How the person, the mainly is the gist of the letter. So the person's writing that, he's basically letting the president know, he admires him, and so does his neighbors, friends, families, and he says soon, the rest of the country admires him as well. Yeah, I don't know exactly, how to determine they're going to get, delivered or who chooses this. They were saying that Truman would only receive maybe 800 after, having a chat. But because the popularity of the fireside chat, they said anywhere 8,000 to 10,000 after he had a chat would come in. I imagine they had people that did, that read them, and then they would probably compile, give him a census of where he was at with the American people. And but the fireside chats were constructed and made to make you feel like this is your friend talking to you, and they're reassuring you that all is well. And that's the voice you use. That's why you said the fireside chats. Because if you think you're sitting down in your fireplace and it's warm, it's cozy, the atmosphere. Yeah.
It's not like we're reading a script. It's so like, right. You can tell that he's just kind of like, it's like you're just having a conversation.
Right. And he really in our next lesson when we get to Pearl Harbor, we're going to actually see a letter that they did the speech. He was very involved with his speeches, and you're going to see where he crossed things out as he added things and took things away. And so he just didn't have a speech writer. They might write a speech for him, but he would take it home at night, sit in bed, and he'd start, because he wanted to make it very personal and very direct. And so he would change words, and sometimes just the changing of one word made a big difference in how something comes across. So in a couple of weeks, or probably about next week, we're going to see that a letter that after the bombing in Pearl Harbor that he did. Oh. Yes, Bill. Well, in your own words if you wish, or you can take it from out of the letter, if that would be better. If there's just a couple of things on the letter that stood out about the power and how he understood it, so it would be like, you said you were going to if you wanted to read again. After listening to your speech, I feel as if there is a silver lining to the clock. Well, see, that made him feel better because he thought, so that was the use of the power through the radio. He could have come up and say, okay, everything's fine. But the way he presented himself with the use of the radio assured this person that everything is going to be really great. So that was one way that he used the power of the radio.
Yeah, that's like
that. Okay, does that help answer your question? Okay.
Did you say 2 letters?
At least 2 letters. Yeah.
Are these locked?
Oh, yeah. Just a second. Let me get the pen.
There you go. Yes. So welcome.
So, how do I use this to write on the board with? Does anybody know? He showed me once briefly and I forgot. Do I have to hit something?
You gotta use the program to active inspire. I don't know.
Okay, well do we still need this up here then? Yeah. Are we good? Because I was going to write down for the raft some of the characters that you could use. that background will be fun. That's Mount Fuji, I think.
Is that?
Or no. You know,
I don't know.
I don't know where that was. Oh, it might be up in Alaska because I know it goes there a lot.